Welcome, bienvenue dans la Fédération des Planètes Unies. Aujourd'hui, il y aura le premier stream et demain, il y aura un stream sur la faction romulienne. La semaine prochaine, normalement, j'aurai réglé mon problème de webcam. Vous devrez pouvoir voir mon visage. Je vous souhaite une bonne année à tout le monde. Et c'est reparti pour le jeu. Cette fois-ci, je ne ferai pas la traduction en français des paroles en anglais. C'est juste pour aujourd'hui.
We're about to plan an attack on the Vaudoir homeworld. We need a battle commander, and I believe you're the best candidate for the job. Meet with Admiral Tuvok and myself at the Jenolan Dyson Sphere to go over strategy. There's something interesting I'd like you to look into. Admiral Tuvok will be giving a presentation soon. Until then, I'd like you to speak with our allies and see what they're bringing to the table.
We have a firm contract with the Hazari. It would bring them great dishonor to fail to complete it, so I expect that we'll have their full support in this battle. The Hazari ships usually fight in pairs. One ship hangs back and provides shield support for the other. This gives them excellent defensive capabilities, but it comes at a cost. Their firepower isn't quite as strong as it would be if they weren't so dedicated to protection.
Greetings. The Hazari will uphold our end of the contract, to the letter. And we expect you to do the same. We specialize in defense, and our ships are at your disposal.
Good to see you again. Through my excellent diplomatic skills, and some assistance from Admiral Tuvok, I have managed to convince the Hierarchy Board of Directors that assisting us in this battle and ensuring the end of the Vaadwaur will improve their long-term profits. The Hierarchy are experts at surveillance and espionage.
Greetings! The Hierarchy is anticipating a...
I'm not sure I completely trust the Kazon after our experience with Maj Sesson, but they say they'll fight for us today. Maybe you'll have better luck reaching a consensus with them than I did. The Kazon have a large number of ships and fight without fear. However, their lack of organization makes slotting them into precise battle formations problematic. They'll go to war with you, but they may not follow every order.
The Kazon are eager for battle. Our enemies will fall today. All of them.
The Cooperative asked me to inform you that they appreciate your assistance, and are prepared to provide what assistance they can in the final battle against the Vaadwaur. The Cooperative's main weapon is adapted Borg technology. Cooperative vessels can confuse the systems of opposing ships and cause them to fire on friendly targets. This tactic is most effective in mixed groups of ships, where the Cooperative can turn the larger vessels against the smaller ones.
The Cooperative appreciates your partnership, and we are eager to end the Vaadwaur threat to our quadrant. Our technological capabilities are at your disposal.
The presentation will begin momentarily. Perhaps you would be willing to check in with the representatives of our other allies. We invited Eldex's people and the Hirogen, but neither group chose to send a representative.
Greetings. The Benthan Guard is honored to join you in the fight against the Vaadwaur. We dedicate our lives to promoting law and order throughout the Delta Quadrant. Finding someone else with the same ideals is unusual, but most...
It's an honor to meet you again. I am eternally grateful for your assistance on my world. By joining you in this fight, perhaps I can begin to repay a small portion of the life debt my people owe you.
Hello again! You've done so much to help us. It's only right that we help you this time.
Greetings. Aiding you against the Vaadwaur was a difficult decision for our people. We do not wish to ally with you, but we understand that ending Gaul's reign of terror is more important than our discomfort.
If you are ready, I will begin the presentation. The bulk of the Vaadwaur fleet has pulled back to Vaadwaur Prime. We expect to face the final might of the Vaadwaur, including Gaul's flagship. Our battle there will have 5 fronts, each progressively closer to the planet. Our rendezvous point will be here, where the mineral content of the moon will help to hide our ships. The jouerai will secure the subspace tunnels in this area, while the Kabali will help the wounded.
The Admiral has already given us our assignment. Our forces will assault the other side of the planet to secure the area against a possible retreat. Our Talaxian friends will be in charge of transporting prisoners of war.
To give us the best possible chance of success, our battle commander will be able to call in one wing of our allies at each of the first 4 fronts. Each wing of allies has different tactical advantages. The cooperative can confuse enemies. The Kazon have many ships and fight without fear. The hierarchy have unparalleled espionage and surveillance abilities and should be difficult to take by surprise. Hazari vessels fight in pairs, with one ship reinforcing the other's shields. This battle will be difficult, but we must prevail. The fleet is ready to begin the assault. I will remain behind to coordinate their movements, while you will be... The Vaadwaur have sent out several large frigate scout forces. We are facing a large number of rather weak vessels. We need ships that would not be overwhelmed by numbers. The Kazon might be a good choice, because they have a large number of ships as well. The Hazari, the Vaadwaur have sent out several large frigate scout forces. An excellent choice. The Kazon number should be a match for the frigates, and their lack of organization should not be too great of a hindrance.
Something's not right here. The Kazon are in the wrong position, and they aren't responding to my hails. I was worried they might double-cross us, but I never thought they would be so blatant. But come to think of it, they did say some pretty suspicious things during the briefing. Fortunately, Admiral Tuvok and I have a backup plan. Sesson has been encroaching on Hirogen territory for some time. They'll join us in battle for a chance to collect his ship as a trophy.
We will hunt!
The Hirogen are ready to fight. Herogen are putting up a good fight. Are taking some losses, but so are the Kazon and the Vodwar. This area is secure. What are your orders?
The Jouerai fleet has secured the sub...
We shall establish a medical flotilla and secure the area. Vessels of the fleet can...
The Vodwar have set up a cruiser picket line in this area. Which ally do you want to advance? We are facing a picket line of cruisers, so we need ships that can withstand constant, persistent attacks. The Hazari could be a good choice. Their defensive capabilities would be a good match for the Vodwar cruisers. I believe the Cooperative would also be sufficient to the task. I would not recommend the Hierarchy, however. Their ships are more suited to espionage and surveillance, so fighting a large number of moderately powered vessels would not be advantageous. The Vodwar have set up a cruiser picket line and a sound tactical choice. The Hazari methods utilize one...
The Kazon Ogla will no...
Excellent decision. The Hazari will make short work of those cruisers.
The Hazari defenses are too strong. The Vodwar can't get through. Starting to fall back.
We have defeated the first wave of Vodwar defenders, and we are entering position for our next offensive. Resistance has been heavier than expected, but our...
Please remember to direct any...
That went well. What do you want me...
The Vaudouar have constructed a defensive line of battleships supported by frigates. Which wing of allies would you like to help you? We are facing battleships flying in formation with frigates, so we need ships that can disable the larger ships or otherwise neutralize their tactics. The cooperative would be a good choice. The Vaudouar have constructed a defensive line of battleships, an excellent strategy. The technology of the...
Deploying the cooperative was an efficient decision. Our technological superiority is a distinct advantage. Cooperative ships are performing at peak efficiency. We are ready to begin transporting prisoners of war from the... The Vaudouar forces in this area have been defeated. What are your orders?
The Vaudouar have constructed a defensive line of battleships. However, a wise choice. The espionage and surveillance capabilities.
An impressive deployment. The hierarchy are more than capable of handling the Vaudouar. The Vaudouar ambush tactics are ineffective against the hierarchy. the hierarchy are making significant gains against the Vaadwaur. The Vaadwaur forces are defeated, as I knew they would be.
We have broken through to their final line of defense, their command ships. However, in doing so, we have exhausted our supply of allies.
Not quite alone. The Hirogen have matters well in hand, so the Rhode Island is at your disposal.
I have temporarily taken command of a cooperative vessel. You will not fight alone.
The hierarchy also agreed to send a single ship to assist in the final assault.
Last but not least, the Hazar.
I am impressed with the show of support from our allies. However, my tactical analysis indicates indicates that our forces are inferior to the Vaadwaur.
The Vaadwaur are relentless. The probability of our survival is slim.
Eldex's help appears to be just what the Doctor ordered.
Gall's ship has launched a drop pod to the planet. Sensors indicate he's on board.
Sir, we've arrived to help secure the area.
Welcome, my friends. You should have joined me when you had the chance. Your persistence is a credit to your race. But it is time for this sad story. Congratulations. You have earned the right to die on the hallowed soil of Vaudois Prime. Oh, that's... The Vaudois controlled this quadrant once, and our new allies have only made us stronger. Is that the best you've got?
Now's your chance! Defeat Gaul!
I thought you might like to know. I took the liberty of scanning Gaul from London. He does not have a parasite. And I don't think he ever did.
What? That's impossible!
The Vaudois Empire will never fall, and you will not even be a footnote in our glorious history.
Congratulations, Admiral.
Your persistence is a credit to your race.
Welcome, my friend.
But it is time.
You should have joined me when you
story.
had the chance. Your blood will drench the sands of our blasted home. Congratulations. You have earned the right to die on the hallowed soil of Vaudois crime. Although you are clearly not the brightest aliens in the universe, that's twice you've refused. The Vaudois controlled this quadrant once, and our new allies have only made us stronger. Is that the best you've got?
Now's your chance! Defeat Gaul!
I thought you might like to know. I took the liberty of scanning Gaul. He does not have a parasite. And I don't think he ever did.
What? That's impossible!
The Vaudois Empire will never fall, and you will not even be a footnote in our glorious history.
We cannot be stopped. Time after time we rise from the ashes, and we are stronger for doing so.
Your logic is flawed, Gaul. You are already defeated. The evil I mistakenly unleashed on the galaxy ends at last.
My people and the galaxy must believe the parasites were behind his madness.
The remaining Vaadwaur have surrendered. What is your current situation? Were you able to determine why he returned to the surface? It was a tactical error. Even if underspace was closed to him, Gaul would have had more... Certainly. May I recommend...
War is just a pointless waste of life. Usually for a political reason. It doesn't much matter in the long term anyway. I understand that sometimes we need to fight to defend those who cannot defend themselves. I respect that. But what Gaul was doing here was...
While this conflict was regrettable, it was ultimately for the greater good. Gaul's hubris and ambition blinded him to the harm he was doing to the Delta Quadrant and his own people. Now the threat is ended. There will be time to heal the damage he has done.
Honestly, I wasn't sure about coming back to the Delta Quadrant. I have a family and a life back home, and the idea of being 70,000 light years away again wasn't appealing. But seeing the good we've done for the Cabali, and now stopping the Vaadwaur, I think we were needed here. You were needed. Thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with you. I hope...
I was responsible for the return of the Vaadwaur. Even though Admiral Janeway told me she might have done the same thing, it was ultimately my actions that allowed all this destruction to happen. I participated in the assimilation of many different species during my time with the Borg. Those acts weigh on me. the wanton slaughter caused by the Vaudouar will do so as well. Nevertheless, I am pleased I could, in some way, make up for my actions. By assisting the Touré, working with the Cooperative, and fighting the Vaudouar here today, we have helped end what began more than 30 years ago when I activated those stasis tubes and freed the Vaudouar. Thank you.
I'm not a man who normally dwells on revenge, but when Gaul and his soldiers attacked my people, it was almost all I could think about. Dexa helped me to see that death doesn't heal wounds of the heart, but thank you. This quadrant is safer now that Gaul and his soldiers are defeated, and I'm glad I was here to see it happen.
Intriguing. This device is not familiar to me, but it does not appear to be of Vaudouar origin. I will bring it back to Voyager for...
With the defeat of Gaul, we've saved the Quadrant from a terrible threat. Well done. This unknown artifact concerns me, however. We'll be in touch once we know more. There's something interesting I'd like you to... Admiral Tuvok would like you to join his team. There's something interesting.
Je vais faire une pause, je reviens tout de suite. Et c'est reparti pour le jeu.
Admiral Tuvok would like you to join his team as they study the mysterious artifact you found on Vaadwaur Prime. Meet with them in the Nal Shadan system. There's something interesting I'd like you to...
Welcome back to Voyager. We were about to begin studying the device you recovered from Gall's communication center. Since you have spearheaded much of our efforts here, I would like you to take the lead once again. Captain Kim and 7 of 9 are at your disposal. Talk with them if you need more help deciphering the device. When you finish your analysis, return to me for further orders. I will be here in the transporter room to see you off.
Glad you're here. We transported the device to engineering here so we could run all the scans and tests we could think of. The first thing we need to do is determine how it's communicating. We can't find any normal transmissions from it, but we're hoping you have some new ideas to bring to the table. The device communicates with subspace. We should have guessed that. Now comes the hard part. We need to access the device's memory core. The engineering team here on Voyager is good, and I've heard your team is top-notch. But it might take... You'll need to set switches on the device until we get solid readings. We'll be able to tell if switches are in the correct position, but not which switches. Good luck. The engineers tell me there is only one switch in the correct orientation. Unfortunately, the engineers tell me there is only... The engineering teams are reading... The engineering teams tell me... The engineers tell me there is... The engineering teams... The engineers tell me there... The engineering teams... The engineers tell me that... The engineering teams are reading big zeros across the board. The engineers tell me that... The engineering teams tell... The engineering teams are reading... The engineers tell me there is only... The engineering teams tell... The engineers tell me there is... The engineering teams tell... The engineers tell me there... The engineering team... The engineers tell me there... The engineering teams... Sir, I've consulted with both the engineers here on Voyager and your chief engineer. I am seeing green across the board. All the switches are in the correct position, and we now have access to the primary memory core of the device. Unfortunately, we're only halfway there. Now we need to access the secondary memory core to get full access to the data we need. Looks like you did it again. All the switches are in the correct position, and we now have full access to the memory core of the device. 7 of 9.
We have access to the databanks of the device. Very efficient work. From the data we have received so far, we will be able to pinpoint the exact transmission coordinates. However, it is possible that doing so may alert whomever is on the other end that we have reverse-engineered their technology. There are 3 likely ways to get at the information. I suggest further analysis to determine the best course of action.
Fascinating. Excellent work. With this location, we may be able to finally reveal who gave the Vaudouar their advanced technology, and why the neural parasites appeared again in this time and place. Commander Jirok of the Romulan Republic has requested to join you on this operation. Her own analysis of the device has shown that the Romulans have had some contact with the creators of this device, a race known as the Ilachi. She will meet you in subspace at the given coordinates. Finally, Voyager's emergency medical hologram, the Doctor, will be assigned to your crew. His knowledge of the Delta Quadrant races may prove invaluable. He's not much of a combatant, but should prove useful.
Hello again.
Greetings. This is Commander Jirok of the RRW Lisette. When we learned that the Ilachi were involved, I requested to shadow you on this mission. I know your experience with the Ilachi is limited. The Romulan Republic, however, has an extensive history with this race. The Tal Shiar used Ilachi to help invade Veronat, a colony made of... Alright, we'll follow... We're seeing 3 patrol groups. Recommend we eliminate them before we board the station. It's odd that Gaul was contacting the Ilachi. They don't exactly play well with rebels. Another Ilachi ship is here to defend the outpost.
Good. You found a breathing apparatus. That should take care of that nasty cough.
I was thinking we should split up and cover...
This is obviously an Alachi facility. What I know about them comes from the Romulan Republic's databases, but I should be able to learn more as we examine this location. The air here is suitable for the Alachi, which means that you may find breathing difficult. I, of course, do not have that problem. If you have an environmental suit, or even some sort of rebreather, you will be fine. If you don't, keep an eye out for something that could help filter out the toxins. These are Solanae tables. I've read the Enterprise D's reports about them. These are definitely Solanae tables, which, if I'm correct, and I always am, is the same race you dealt with after using the Iconian Gateway on New Romulus. The Solanae kidnap victims through subspace for their brutal experiments. If they are somehow connected to the Alachi and the Vaadwaur, this is beginning to make more sense. If I had to guess, there must be a stasis room nearby. We should find it and rescue anyone in there who can still be saved. It looks as if they are converting their captives into more Alachi. If my readings are correct, there are several individuals here who have only just begun the conversion process. We're transporting you to a Romulan ship in orbit. You're going to be fine. You'll be back on duty before you know it. One to beam up. A Kazon? Even the Borg won't assimilate a Kazon. Everything will be fine, Mr. Teray. We'll beam you directly to sickbay. Ah, a Hazari. Stay calm. We'll get you the medical attention you need. This is no way for a proud Klingon warrior to go out. We'll patch him up immediately. Transport this Talaxian directly to sickbay. Well, the Solanae are definitely involved. I believe I have everything I need from this area. The door is unlocked now. We should keep going.
This is odd. You sound like you're in a Solanae lab, but we're in some place that looks like a prison. In fact, I'd say that's exactly what it is. And they've just had a breakout.
A prison break? Maybe I should go back to the ship. Neural parasites. This must be where the Vaadwaur were implanted with those mind-controlling bugs. Neural parasites. Just as I suspected. Did you know that several Starfleet officers were infected by these in the mid-2360s? The Enterprise logs from that era are fascinating reading. If Gaul and the infected Vaadwaur were communicating... I don't believe it. The empirical evidence is right in front of this tech, this whole facility. The Iconians, as we know them, rarely reveal themselves. The only known interaction with an Iconian in modern history took place on Kronos, when... Wait, you were there! I don't need to explain that situation again. As I was saying, the Iconians don't like to act directly. They use servitor races, like the Alachi and the Solanae, to cause chaos in their name. And the neural parasites, they've bioengineered. Rather like the Founders created the Jem'Hadar, but sophisticated enough to control another species, and with much less free will. The parasites are... When Voyager revived the Vaadwaur, their technology was outdated compared to what other powers in the Delta Quadrant had at that time. Even the Kazon outdid them. But now, Vaadwaur technology is cutting. The parasites gave the Vaadwaur power, but they gave the Iconians control. They were ultimately the ones pulling the strings. This entire war has been against an enemy we didn't even see. This is more like a factory than a laboratory. Some of this technology is ancient, but it's quite advanced.
I think we're catching up with the escapees, and they might be from the Alpha Quadrant. We found a dead Romulan in prisoner garb. He was part of the breakout.
Maybe we should avoid any potential contact with the prisoner? I think I've seen enough combat for today.
Humans! Always showing up when you're least expected. More Alachi. I don't think the Iconians want me to leave. Their tenacity is almost admirable.
Looks like you could use a hand.
And now we have their leader's attention.
Seela! I should kill you where you stand. It would be justice for all the lives you've destroyed.
And if you do, you'll never learn about the Iconians. I've been here for months. I've seen enough to...
Fine, you interrogate her. I might get a little carried away. But she returns with me to the Lisette when you're finished here. Seela is a prisoner of the Romulan Republic. Your government can go through official channels if they want to talk to her.
You and this Seela person seem to have some history. I'll leave you to speak to her.
Not so fast. You have the weapons, but I have the information. If you want to look... I assume you already know where you are. Both the Alachi and the Solanae serve the Iconians. The Alachi are their warriors, and the Solanae are their scientists. They're the ones who created those creatures implanted into the Vaadwaur. Hakiv joined the Iconians out of faith. He thought the Iconians would create an empire he could rule. That did not go as planned. This time the Iconians wanted to control their puppets. When the Vaadwaur asked for strength to defeat their enemies, the Iconians gave them the parasites. The Vaadwaur had strength, but also strings. Strings that have now been cut. I'm sure you had something to do with that. All three of you working together? The world has changed in my absence. Or were the Vaadwaur that much of a threat to the Alpha Quadrant? That explains some things. I'd love an escort back to the world at large, but I have a feeling you have some questions first. I'll answer what I can. You can believe what... How important is that, really? I worked with the Iconians because, at the time, I thought it was the best thing for my people. After we lost the homeworld, we were scattered, starving. A shadow of what we once were. What were we supposed to do, beg the Federation or the Klingons for scraps? Pathetic. The so-called Romulan Republic has made their way. We are not refugees. We are Romulan. We needed a strong leader to bind us together again, and I knew I could be that one. The Iconians were a means to an end. They gave us strength at a time when we were at our weakest. Dwelling on the past is meaningless. I'll answer what I can. You can believe what you want. Will I be taken into your custody? Very well. It's not like I have a choice.
We have Empress Sela in our brig. When she was taken by the Iconians last year, many of my people thought she would get away with her heinous crimes against the galaxy. With her in my brig, I am happy to know that is no longer a possibility. Of course, I understand that the Romulan Republic's claim on her is not unique. Her crimes are against all of the Alpha Quadrant. To that end, I will ensure that she be made available to all the...
Well, that wasn't exactly what I'd call a walk in the park. At least we know exactly how the Iconians were controlling the Vaadwaur. And you've certainly put a crimp in their plans. On the upside, as a photonic life form, I'm immune to any attempts at subversion by neural parasites. I'll see to the care of the captives we rescued. In the meantime, it sounds like you and the Romulan Republic Command have a lot to talk about. Sela certainly had...
There's something interesting I'd like you to...
We have a situation on Kabali Prime. Good to see you.
We've received reports of strange events in the Eta Eridani sector, near the Donatu system. Time permitting, follow up and see what you can find.
Mais pas faire la suite, étant donné que je n'ai pas fait l'émission de Kabali System. On va commencer l'émission de la section 31. Et c'est parti.
On the front lines of the Klingon Federation war, brave captains from both sides battle to defend their homes and gain advantages for their faction. Each death has meaning. Every victory can turn the tide. These are the conflicts that will determine
I have
the
a job
fate
that
of the
requires
quadrant.
your specific skills. I expect you to be efficient and discreet. Don't disappoint me. Not exactly. I represent an organization devoted to protecting the Federation from all threats, internal and external. Some call us Section 31, and that is as good a name as any. Our methods of defense have been called extreme, even barbaric, but those who oppose us are simply being naive. Cling to your ideals all you want. Will they protect you from the Klingons? What about the Borg? Do you honestly think you can come to some sort of peaceful understanding with the Collective? Of course not. My organization understands the dangers, and we're prepared to face them. You have been identified as someone who can be of use. It would be unfortunate for both of us if that is not the case. Until next time. We have reports of a true-wave fleet entering the neutral zone and picking a fight with the Klingons near the Donatu system. Having two of our enemies fight is good for the Federation, but I want to know why the True-Way is so far out of their territory. Intercept them and deal with them. If you need to engage the Klingons as well, do so. A Starfleet task force has already been sent to the area. You'll need to join them in the Donatu system as soon as possible. Until next time.
Our mission goes well. The Axon has disabled or destroyed 7 enemy ships. I look forward to reporting our successes. The Chief Medical Officer is concerned about casualties. It is his job to be concerned. Mine is to operate this ship at peak efficiency. I have read his report about unexplained deaths and dismissed it. There is always an explanation. He simply hasn't looked hard enough for it. I cannot let his failings disrupt our mission. Gulma Dread is looking for men of purpose to assist him. He wants leaders with the will to use whatever means are necessary to free our people from Federation tyranny. If all goes well, after this campaign, I will be seen as one of those leaders.
Repairs to the Axon go as expected. Running low on deuterium and warp coils. Wish there was more time between battles to do more than patch critical systems. But time is the most precious commodity there is. 4 crewmen down. 1 died in battle with Klingon forces, but 3 others died in accidents. I have spoken to the captain about launching an investigation, but he sees nothing but his dreams of glory and a return to conquest. Unusual spike in triolic wave energy may be affecting warp core efficiency. Must speak to Triolic and see if his sensor readings have turned up anything unusual. Letter from Maja arrived today. She and the children are well, but she worries about me. She wants me to leave the true way and return to Cardassia Prime. 6 months ago, I would have ignored her pleas. Now, I miss her. And I see no end to this fighting.
Science Officer's Log, Stardate 86790.8. My duties on a combat mission are limited, but I was pleased today to have a chance to scan the approaching Griffin's Comet. The comet itself has not been a focus of much scientific inquiry, and it last passed through this sector in the late 23rd century. My scans, however, reveal surprising amounts of triolic wave energy emitting from the comet, as well as detectable amounts of chronoton particles. The triolic waves will unfortunately prevent a closer study of the comet. They are quite harmful to humanoid life forms, and the captain is loath to jeopardize our mission for my curiosity. I have requested the launch of a Class 1 probe. The chronotons are of even greater interest. They appear in instances of temporal disturbances, which could mean that this comet has been, or will be, in the presence of a temporal event. Time mechanics are so cumbersome. I must have more data. The captain has never had much interest in science. Perhaps I will remind him that chronoton particles are harmful against the aliens who live in the Bajoran wormhole. A potential weapon to use against the Bajoran's gods may be of enough interest to him to divert our course.
Are you sure you found no sign of the Cardassians attempting to open a portal, or otherwise bring the Davidians into our phase variants? This is troublesome. There are pieces to the puzzle I don't have yet. Let me do some digging and I will be in touch. Until next time. Until next time.
Welcome to Drozana. You're clear.
Get your Comet cocktails! 4.7% discount for the next 3 minutes! Welcome to Drozana Station! Have you tried the Comet cocktail? Aren't we all? Oh yeah, I know Zamara. Maybe she's been here recently, and maybe she hasn't. My memory is kind of, hazy. Yeah, I'm sure we can. In fact, I feel my memory clearing up already. I tell you what, I know you Starfleet types aren't big on Latinum, but what you do have are skills and a will. Go to the cargo. Get your Comet cocktails! 4.7% discount for the next 3 minutes! Welcome to Drozana Station. Have you tried the They are! And I am fine! A deal's a good...
Be careful. They're watching. I'm not in the mood for a chat right now, thanks. Shh. Keep your voice down. I'm being watched. I've seen too many familiar faces in the crowd, and there are shadows. Watchers in the dark. I see them out of the corner of my eye when they think I'm not looking, but I'm always looking. When the lights change, watch yourself. They're everywhere. You weren't sent to help me. You were sent to watch me. Drake needs me to keep feeding information to Starfleet intelligence. The Klingons come here and they drink and they talk. It's amazing the bits of information you can pick up around a Dabo table. Everything, even the smallest detail, is important. Captain Gerard was in here last week. He ordered blood wine, an entire bottle of the 2309 vintage, to be exact. That business with the House of Torg must have upset him more than we knew. When Gerard's happy, he drinks Warnog. Watch yourself. They're everywhere. Torg was on the High Council until he made a play to destroy the House of Martok. He was partially successful. Maven, son of Drex, is dead. The house has no heir unless Drex takes a new mate and fathers a new son. But Martok's widow is wise. Her son, Drex, was off fighting in the war, so Lady Sorella called in KDF officers to defend her house. They exposed Torg's treachery, and Jempok was forced to discommendate him. As to why that would make Gerard unhappy? Torg raised Gerard after his mother died. Now he is an outcast, and his house has fallen. Gerard cannot speak to him without losing his... Watch yourself. They're everywhere. Find out who's watching me. I'm not safe here. The Klingons are looking for me. They know someone has been feeding intelligence to Starfleet. The ghosts are always watching. Their eyes are hungry. Yesterday, they surrounded a drunken Klingon. Now he's dead. They will How could you know that? No, they're everywhere. They're watching. You've been here too long. Someone will notice that we're together. Go do something else. Play Dabo. I'll contact you when I... Watch yourself.
Spin the wheel and win. Close enough. Psst. Zamara wants me to give you a message. She wants you to know, if you're interested in finding out what's really going on here at Drozana Station, you need to check out the lower levels. I have an access code for you that will get you past the security doors. If you want to talk with her again, I suggest you collect your winnings and catch her before she leaves.
I'm not in the mood for a chat right now, thanks. You don't need to worry about me. I'm going to leave this place to the ghosts. They seem to belong here more than we do. I've booked passage on a ship. You don't need to know which one. Just tell Drake he'll keep getting his intel, one way or another. Good luck. You're going to need it.
How can I help you? I grew up on trading ships, making supply runs in the Bolian sector. It was exciting, but it was crazy too. I never knew where I was going to be, or if my parents were going to have enough latinum to keep the ship flying. Then there was that time with the Orion pirates, and let's just say it wasn't the best environment for a child. All I've ever wanted was stability. I used to envy the kids on the colony worlds we served. For a while, I even thought about becoming a farmer. I wanted to wake up at the same time every day, go to the same job every day, even eat the same food most days. I like working on a starbase. It has a little bit of unpredictability, but every night my quarters are there waiting for me, and they're always in the same place. Good luck, and stay safe. I have had dealings with him in the past. I think he's some sort of military strategist. He visits here from time to time, although Commander Wildman is never too thrilled to see him. He's always treated me well, though, so I don't have any reason to dislike him. Good luck, and stay safe. Mostly he wants updates on our research projects. Last week he was asking me all sorts of questions about the synchronic distortion prototype rifle. We work with prototypes of new equipment here. I'll bang on something for months to find out all of its advantages and problems before it's sent into the field to be used by Starfleet. Even then, it takes years or more of testing and iteration before something becomes standard fleet issue. And there are hundreds of inventions that just don't work, or they don't work the way we want them to. Those failures are then broken down and their components are recycled. We have to keep good luck and stay safe. That was a complete disaster. The basic design came out of Memory Alpha, and it was intended to detect and damage cloaked opponents. Someone there got an idea that the Romulans were developing personal cloaking devices, even though the power needs of something like that would be incredible. I recommended against sending it to field testing, but it went anyway. The crew on the USS DeWitt had some luck in modifying one for use as a hand weapon. But their prototype was destroyed when the ship was lost in the neutral zone. I hadn't thought about it. Good luck, and stay safe. So that explains why Drake was interested in the prototype. It was a complete failure at detecting polarization cloaks. But if I added a phase modulator and reversed the polarity, these modifications could...
Good work. Zamara may think she has slipped my noose, but I always have ways of keeping tabs on her. I take special care to know all about people in whom I have an interest. But you already know that, don't you? The ghosts that Zamara mentioned concern me, however. You already encountered Davidians once. It's likely they're on Drozana Station as well. And I won't let them use Federation citizens as food. Lieutenant Kalapo has completed work on the synchronic distortion prototype rifle. It should help you when you're ready to enter the lower levels of Drozana. Drake out. Until next time.
C'est là que se termine le stream. La vidéo sera postée, celle d'aujourd'hui et celle de demain, lundi 14h heure locale. Sur ce, je vous laisse. Longue vie et prospérité à vous.